Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Solopreneur Hour. I am your host, after so long, Michael O'Neill. Happy 2026 to you. Let's be honest, it's been a little minute. It's been a little minute since we've done a show together. Not completely out of the blue. Basically, when COVID happened and everybody and their mother started a podcast, things got really, really muddy in the podcast world. And I kind of waited until things calmed down a bit. And now I'm pulled so strongly back to doing this show. And I honestly can't wait. I can't wait to jump on and do a bunch of cool interviews. I have a bunch of interviews lined up right now, which reminds me, if you're a longtime listener, hi. Thank you for coming back and listening to this little bit. If you know anybody, if you've heard people on other shows, I've been out of the loop a little bit with these sort of long-form interview shows. So if you know some really cool people that I should do shows with, please recommend them to me. Solopreneur Hour at gmail.com, or you can find me at Solo Hour on Instagram. Got a lot of cool things coming up. I really want to dig into using AI for business, for solopreneurs, obviously, like all of us, and just a bunch of cool entertainment stuff. I've got some cool friends in the entertainment biz. And again, my goal always to show you guys what motivated someone to get as successful as they have become. And maybe it'll help us make some choices as we go along and try to navigate this solopreneur journey. Some of you may see that I'm on video. I'm actually on YouTube as well. I have very reluctantly been pulled into the video world of podcasting. I don't love it, to be honest. I think it takes a lot of the intimacy away from the show, but that's for another episode. I'm excited, though, to be here and be doing this for you. I'm curious for you guys, though, if you had to define what the workspace is like right now for you here as a solopreneur, as a solopreneur, what's it feel like? Like, what are you struggling with? What are some of the issues you're having? I'll say that because of AI, it's crazy how, like, some of the things that we used to do that would take hours and days have now turned into seconds with AI. It's really crazy. And there's a few people I want to talk to, like Rick Mulready and Dan Martell, and of course my buddy Dennis Yu. I really love what they're doing in the AI space. And of course, everybody's an AI guru now. I am not. I think I use it to 15% of its capacity, but it's incredibly useful. Now, in the meantime, since I haven't spoken to you guys for a little minute, I've been doing a lot of other stuff. I launched what is probably the most successful pickleball teaching podcast in the world. It's called 4.0 to Pro. We're well over 1 million listens since we started a couple years ago. I co-host it with a fellow Mircea Marariu, who's a fellow senior pro player, a tier 1 senior pro. And we've been having a blast. We've been doing camps all over the country, and it's been awesome. I mean, pickleball for me has been kind of my saving grace over the last few years. Don't tell my knees that, which probably needs some replacement at some point. And then Rennch, my Porsche restoration YouTube channel, has also grown substantially. I've got about 34,000 subscribers now. And it has, like many things do in the solopreneur world, doors have opened. And this is one of the beauties of doing content, is you never know what kinds of doors will open. So if you're thinking about writing a book or launching a podcast or a YouTube channel, like, just do it, because the thing you think is going to happen is probably not the thing that's going to happen. There are going to be doors that will open for you that you will be like, wow, I had no idea in a million years this was even going to be a thing. So it's the coolest part about creating content and podcasting and YouTube, is that you get incredible opportunities to, like, media passes, for instance. I've got the Consumer Electronics Show coming up in a few days in Vegas. And we get to have media passes for this amazing event that has, 120,000 people in Vegas and blah, blah, blah. And it's really cool. It's just a really cool opportunity to be able to see a lot of things behind the scenes, especially now that podcasting and YouTube is a much more integrated, accepted form of media, like in the zeitgeist. And it wasn't when we started. I mean, you got to think about it. 2013 is when this show started, 800 and whatever it was, 870 something episodes ago. And we had to explain what podcasting was. And YouTube was kind of like, oh, really? Why don't you get a real job kind of thing? And now these people are making, multiple millions of dollars doing both. I wish I were one of them. But the bottom line is that you can now, if you have a favorite hobby, or I really like favorite hobbies, actually. Like if you're able to create some content around one of your favorite hobbies, you can then get into most of the conferences and conventions and, live events within that hobby for free, because you're media and you're going to talk about it anyway. You're probably going to talk about it on your show no matter what. So you might as well attend for free and maybe speak or whatever. So it can be really a cool way to go. I still am really high on content creation for whatever a solopreneur business is. And I think you could do it in literally almost any niche. And with all of the AI tools available now, it's almost a no-brainer. Like being able to create a website and transcribe a podcast and use those transcriptions to create social media content and things like that. Automation, it's just really unbelievable the time we're in. And we're in a very similar time, like for my Rennch YouTube channel. It's pretty crazy. It's Rennch, by the way. It's Rennch. Rennch is the name of the YouTube channel. But one of the really cool things in that world is if I had to make a part, let's say I needed to make a mount for a custom transmission on a car. Well, I'd have to take some cardboard and figure out what that bracket needed to look like, make sure the holes were in the right spot. And then once I got that kind of where I wanted it, I would cut it out of metal. I would, have to grind it and shape it and drill holes in it and all kinds of things and weld it together. And then I would have a part. And then that part would be cool and it would work. It would be effective, but it wouldn't exactly look like a factory part. Well, now we live in this world where I can take a 3D scanner and scan that space. Then I can go on my computer, use Fusion 360 to 3D model a part, and then take that model and send it to a company that I use called Send Cut Send, one of the sponsors of my channel, who will then laser cut it and cut out the holes and do everything and bend it and powder coat it and send it back to me with my logo integrated into it. And it looks like a part that came from the factory. So it's like the shortcuts we have available to us now, whether it's using AI or using some of these modern production tools, it's incredible. So if you're thinking oh, there's no way I'd be able to do X, like for instance, I don't have enough time to do a podcast. Well, you probably do. If it's a weekly show, that's 4 shows per month. You could probably find a day, like a single day, where you could bang out all 4 shows for the month and, record them, produce them, get them in the can, and then, automate everything else on the back end. So it's typically not a matter of time. It's typically how do we use these modern tools to save us the time, or to take the time that used to take hours and hours and hours and hours in seconds, in minutes? How can we utilize these things? So that's kind of going to be my primary focus for the first part of bringing my show back online, is I want to teach all of us, you and me included, what are some of these really cool modern tools? How can we be seen doing the things that we really want to do? How can we get people that are our potential customers to come to us? And that, to me, is the real kicker. So that's kind of where my focus is going to be for the first few shows here. And I just got to be honest, man, I'm stoked. I'm stoked to do this again. I'm stoked to be on with you guys. I know this is just a little shorty show, but I wanted to kind of reintroduce myself. And maybe I should do that really quick before I log off, if you guys have never heard of me, if you've never actually heard this show before, I'm Michael O'Neill. I've been a full-time podcaster now for like 13 years. I guess this will be my 13th year full-time podcasting. I have a degree in broadcasting, telecommunications, and mass media from Temple University. I was a full-time branding guy and designer for like 20 years at ad agencies and things like that. My world is very much about brand and about how to utilize that. And for those of you who know me, from all these shows I've done, I'm a real interview junkie. Like I really pay attention to hopefully being a great interviewer. That is always my goal, is to demonstrate in general the genius of the person I have on the show. And it's not necessarily done in a very, like I kind of Trojan horse it on you. And I do that in a way that hopefully where some of the questions that I might ask that put them into real world situations, you get to see the decisions they made as they were coming up. And I think many of us are some point on that timeline and go, oh, I'm kind of facing this exact same thing right now. This is what they did and they were very successful. So maybe I should give this a go. That's kind of the DNA of the show. And it always has been. The other side of it is I'm just talking to people I really dig that I think are doing really cool things. And that to me has always been the most fun part of doing the Solopreneur Hour, is just getting exposure to like a touring drummer or a professional stand-up comedian or an author or you name it, appliance salesman, whatever it is. Like if I can get those stories, I think we're going to relate to them in some way or another. And that is always my goal. And hopefully teach you guys to if you want to fire your boss and kind of kill your 9-to-5 job because you have some cool ideas, because you're an entrepreneur or solopreneur in this case. I think there's been no better time in history to be a solopreneur than right now, because we can have a army of AI assistants doing things for us now that even 3 years ago seemed absurd. I mean, how many people have I had on the show that have talked about like outsourcing to the Philippines and having a VA or a virtual assistant somewhere else? But now like most of those assistant duties can be done with AI, and it can be done like really, really quickly. So I love the idea of, at least taking advantage of the technology while we're in this really interesting mashup of tech and making the most of it. So that's kind of where we're going. If you guys have any suggestions again for people or ideas or things you want to learn more about, Solopreneur Hour at gmail.com is where you can find me. And we will see you in the next episode. All right, guys. Cheers.